Hello there guys and welcome, it is Niron here and today it's time for episode number 5 of our F1 2014 career mode here with Force India. As you can see, we are here at Spain, Catalunya for round 5, first of the European rounds, and as you can see, 68% chance of rain here in Spain. I could make a joke about rain in Spain and various planes, but I'm not going to. As you can see, here's the strategy. To be honest with you, I didn't really see much point in putting primes on because, well, it's going to rain 68% of the way of the race, so the likelihood is, by the time I've stuck on an option set and a prime set, as you can see by the laps there, it's going to have already started raining. You might as well put 2 option sets on. That's beyond the point. Before we get into the race, though, and a rain-affected race by the looks of things, though, it is now time to look at the qualifying report. Q1 saw yet another damp qualifying session and would be topped by Red Bull's Daniel Ricciardo. Valtteri Bottas would be second on his quest to score his first points this season, whilst Jules Bianchi and Kamui Kobayashi once again made it through. Both Toro Rossos were eliminated. Q2 would be incredibly close as it started to dry, as Nico Rosberg was fastest by just 100th over teammate Lewis Hamilton. Fernando Alonso was third in front of his home faithful, whilst Kevin Magnussen took a solid 5th, ensuring mixed emotions for McLaren as Jenson Button was only 12th. But in Q3 it will be the other Mercedes of Lewis Hamilton who would take pole a 10th ahead of his teammate Nico Rosberg. Ricciardo and Vettel took 3rd and 4th for Red Bull, with Felipe Massa taking his best qualifying of the season with 5th. So all of this means that Lewis Hamilton will be on pole for the Spanish Grand Prix here in Catalunya in front of his teammate Nico Rosberg in 2nd. Daniel Ricciardo and Sebastian Vettel took 3rd and 4th for Red Bull in front of Felipe Massa in 5th, with Fernando Alonso in 6th at his home Grand Prix. Kimi Räikkönen, his teammate, would start in 7th in front of fellow countryman Valtteri Bottas in 8th, with Kevin Magnussen in 9th and Yusufu in 10th for Force India. So a pretty average qualifying really, 10th on the grid. We do technically beat our teammate Nico Hulkenburg, but we were slowest in Q3 by some distance. We actually set pretty much exactly the same time in Q3 as we did in Q2, and in Q2 we were fast enough to get 7th, I do believe it was, and yeah, it's only grabbed 10th in Q3, so that was a little bit frustrating. As you can see, Lewis Hamilton, who as I speak now has just won the championship in real life, is on pole in front of his teammate Nico Rosberg. There you can see our teammate Nico Hulkenburg starting in 11th, there our teammate. Technically we do out-qualify him, but he's basically there, he's basically right with us, but as the lights now start to illuminate, as you can see Kevin Magnussen there to our left-hand side, we are ready to get underway and the lights are now off and we are away. It is a decent start in comparison to our teammate there, Hulkenberg behind. It's a pretty good start in comparison to Magnussen and Bottas, but as you can see, Hulkenberg now in the slipstream is going to go to the outside as Bottas goes to the inside of Alonso up in front. We're now going to try and move quite cleanly through this first corner. We brake very tentatively to avoid the even more tentative AI there. Bottas around the outside, trying to stick it around the outside, coming now down into turn 3, but we go, in fact, in between himself and Kevin Magnussen there, and now up into P8. As you can see, Bottas, they're still on the inside. Räikkönen up in front. Alonso's very tentative on the brakes, and we just about have to avoid both of the Ferraris there, going very slowly down into turn 4. We're now all over the back of Felipe Massa up into 6th place, past both the Ferraris. Now, is Massa going to be tentative? He is, and we run into the back of him there and then go up the inside. I do apologise there to the Brazilian Massa, but he was extremely early on the brakes. I'm not entirely sure what was going on, but now Nico Rosberg in front of us, and what a start from 10th to 5th here on this first, well, not even a first lap yet. It's sort of half a first lap so far. As you can see, Rosberg's actually been jumped here by both the Red Bulls. We're really slow there through that quick right-hand corner, and a lot of other YouTubers have been complaining about the Force India's lack of mechanical grip and understeer in general. And before now, I didn't really notice it too much. I did a bit in China, or through the spoon curve and through the corners at the end of Sector 2. But here is where I really noticed it. In qualifying, we had absolutely, to put it into perspective, the AI were able to go, they were able to go flat out through turn 3, and I was actually losing about 8 or 9 tenths through turn 3 alone. It was absolutely, it was insane. As you can see though, at the end of lap 2, at the start of lap 2, we are actually, we're keeping with Rosberg. He's battling with the 2 Red Bulls in front. Managed to gap Massa somewhat, actually, surprisingly, through one sector. As you can see now, at the end of lap 2, DRS now enabled as we now move on to lap 3. We've now actually managed to extend the gap back to Felipe Massa to around about 2.6 seconds, I do believe, in 2 laps, which is, is a pretty decent job. Rosberg still getting held up there by Daniel Ricciardo and Vettel in front as we get really out of shape there. Now, look at this. I don't know if you just caught a quick glimpse there of my tyre wear. Is this some sort of glitch? Because I didn't use my tyres that much in qualifying. I think I did one run in both Q2 and Q3, and the tyre wear after 3 laps is absolutely catastrophic. As you can see in front, Rosberg has just gone in front of Daniel Ricciardo, and now moving on to lap 6, I've got absolutely no grip whatsoever. 3 laps earlier than I was planning to on this option stint. We're having to come into the pit lane down into lean fuel mixture. And this is absolutely ridiculous. No one else around us is coming in, but the tyres are absolutely gone. Like, completely and utterly dead. If I'd stayed out another lap, I would have literally had Raikkonen, Massa, and the whole gaggle behind, from about, I think it was 6 downwards, all over the back of me. And I had absolutely nothing in response. It was absolutely... It was ridiculous. I've never experienced tyre wear scaling that much. I don't know if it's a scaling glitch, where, you know, I had 25% race distance scaling, or something like that. But as you can see, Adrian Sutil's gone in front of us. We're now down into 18th place. 18th place here, and like a few laps later, we're not even closing. Now we've managed to leapfrog Massa again with this huge undercut we've got on these prime tyres. Of course, I forgot to mention that. And as you can see, some rain now starting to fall as well. So I thought at this point, oh, I've doomed myself here. Should have stuck on some options, but obviously the options only seem to last 6 laps on my Force India. So at first I thought I made the wrong decision, but as you can see now, as Fernando Alonso has now jumped us in the pit lane, he's stuck on some prime tyres, which really does seem like a waste, because obviously he went a whole 5 laps longer than me, and look at that understeer through turn 3, the dirty air effect, just chucking us out wide towards the gravel, and it was just, that's what it was like all race. That's a second gained in what, 1 corner. Absolutely atrocious. Now moving on to lap 12, some more guys coming to the pit lane, including Kimi Raikkonen, Alonso's teammate. We've got the assistance of DRS there down the straight. The rain's starting to get even heavier, but now leapfrogging some of those guys. But I mean, the gap was something like 4 or 5 seconds before the pit stops, and we've now got them all over the back of us. As you can see, Jenson Button now all over the back of us, and the rain is really starting to fall very, very heavily now onto lap 13 here. And I'm feeling intermediates. I'm feeling intermediates are a decent call here. So we're going to come in at the end of this lap. The prime tyres aren't quite dead yet, but they're getting somewhere towards that, which is absolutely... That's a catastrophe in itself. As you can see, Fernando Alonso actually stayed out, so we're going against the grain in terms of the guys in front. But as you can see on the minimap, Jenson Button, the man behind us in that McLaren, is in fact following us in. We're going to switch over to the intermediates. As you can see there, I just quickly changed that. Now moving on to lap 14. Sebastian Vettel is actually leading the race in the Red Bull. We'll see if it's a good pit stop from the guys. Of course, our second pit stop of the race in just 14 laps. So it's heading towards a 3-stopper. It's a pretty poor pit stop there. 4.1 seconds. There's both of the Williams there having to come into the pit lane. They're going to have to stack. That's going to hurt Valtteri Bottas absolutely hugely. So despite a really good qualifying for Valtteri Bottas, that has pretty much ruined his chance of getting any points. So yet again, Valtteri Bottas probably won't get any points in this race here for Williams. But as you can see then, 6th place we've come out in, because everyone behind came in at the same time. So hopefully we'll be able to jump Fernando Alonso with this increased pace, of course, on the right tyres. But as you can see, at the end of the next lap, Fernando Alonso has comfortably jumped us. And unfortunately, this is an issue with Codemasters games, is the AI just seem to be able to deal with wet conditions on dry tyres perfectly, as if they were on intermediates themselves, and really there's been no gain. I've gained about a second, but in reality, you look at the dampness of the track and the fact that Alonso was on slick tyres, and just like, there was nothing. There was no gain, really, and that just frustrates me a little bit. As you can see, moving on to lap 19, we were sticking with Alonso quite well, but Felipe Massa actually came in behind, so he managed to, we wanted to really cover him off. As you can see, Fernando Alonso also doing the same. He also came in there for Ferrari, but yeah, just deciding to cover off Felipe Massa behind, sticking on another set of intermediate tyres, because the track wasn't getting any wetter, so it wasn't in need of some wet tyres on this Force India, but yeah, it doesn't look as if we're going to come out into any traffic, which is pretty much what I've expected all race so far, seeing as having not really had any battles whatsoever, which is pretty frustrating, to be honest with you, because you want to do well, but you also you want to have races that are good. You want to have entertaining races, really. And as you can see now, moving on to lap 26 or 27 now, in fact, Alonso's actually coming in again, weirdly. So we're now back up into 5th place, and we're actually, you know, these intermediate tyres are feeling all right. We're going to stay out. We're going to stay out here. We're going to do a pit stop less than everyone else, and we're deciding to stay out. On to lap 28, as you can see, we're doing a pretty decent job. You know, Alonso's a whole pit stop, or a little bit less than a whole pit stop behind. Nico Hulkenburg's actually the man behind us at the moment in 6th place, so hopefully he can stay out and get some more points for the squad. But yeah, as you can see, I'm being called in for a pit stop. I don't particularly see the point, really, as we go horribly wide, though, into the hairpin there at the end of the lap. But yeah, wrong decision. Wrong decision majorly made by myself, because as you can see on lap 31, 15 seconds has been cut like absolutely nothing, because Fernando Alonso in front of his home crowd is going right around the outside of us down into turn 1. We're going to have to brake late, but the tyres are dead. The track is actually starting to dry out. I was really contemplating moving on to a set of option tyres, because it was really starting to get dry. At this point, you could probably just about get away with sticking on option tyres. With only 2 laps to go, isn't really worth the time you'd lose in the pit stop, but really sliding all the way through turn 3, massive amounts of oversteer. There you can see the tyres. The rears are gone. The front right isn't quite so bad, but it's still looking pretty much horrendous, because of course we've got to go through this lap and then another lap after that. So it's not looking brilliant as we skate there through the hairpin down at the bottom of the hill. At the end of this penultimate lap here, lap 32, we're holding Fernando Alonso up an absolute treat. We're drifting more than a rally car through Finland, and this really is, this is nigh on impossible at the moment. On to the final lap, lap 33 of 33. It's taken us 33 laps, in fact, to have a battle with anyone. But now Fernando Alonso going around the outside yet again, down into turn 1. We brake later, just about hang it around the outside there. Fernando Alonso, he goes wide, and we just about hold on. Massive drift yet again there. As you can see, just can't get the power down whatsoever. Massive slide there as well through the chicane. Alonso absolutely all over the back of us. The tyre temperature's getting too high, really, because of this drifting around pretty much every corner. Onto the back straight now we go. Of course, no DRS because of the wet conditions and the fact we've got intermediate tyres on. And Alonso going up the inside, down into the hairpin. We're just about going to hold it around the outside. How on earth Alonso hasn't got past me at this point in time is a mystery to me. We drift yet again round that corner there, and yet again, look at the tyres, completely brick red. This is actually reminding me of the Williams Road to Recovery race in Spain, of course, on F1 2013 last season. But this is beyond belief. Through into the chicane now we come. This is ridiculous. Look at the amount of oversteer we've got. We're just surely going to hang on, or are we? Fernando Alonso all over the back of us, still unable to get through, and I think we are just about going to hold on to take 5th place here with a ridiculous amount of tyre wear there right at the end. So somehow here we hold on. Tyre wear really the order of the day at a track which is really quite high deg anyway. As you can see, Nico Rosberg actually won the race. Don't know how he recovered from that, having had a really poor first stint. He won the race from Daniel Ricciardo and Sebastian Vettel. Lewis Hamilton could only claim 4th. We there with that battle with Alonso, we only actually finished 4 seconds in front of the gaggle between Massa, Raikkonen and Button, which sort of tells a story to say they were almost a whole pit stop behind us. As you can see, Nico Rosberg claiming that final point, and yet again, poor Valtteri Bottas with no points whatsoever at the moment. Esteban Gutierrez there in 11th in front of Kevin Magnussen. Here's how it affects the Drivers' Championship. Nico Rosberg now leading it by just 2 points over his teammate Lewis Hamilton. What a title race they are having at this early stage. Daniel Ricciardo there in 3rd. We find ourselves in 4th, but Sebastian Vettel has really closed the gap to us in front of Alonso, Raikkonen, Button, Hulkenburg, Massa, Magnussen, Kvyat, Verne, and there Valtteri Bottas. I'm tempted to change the name of this series to The Road to Bottas Scoring Points, to be quite honest with you, because it just doesn't seem as if it's going to happen. Constructors' Championship there, as you can see on screen, we are just 1 point now behind Ferrari there in, was it 3rd in the championship. Might also change the name to Road to Us Not Getting That Much Tyre Wear or something like that. It's not very catchy, but you know. Anyway, I'm tempted. I'm very tempted, because we've really suffered in this race specifically. Not too much all season, but I don't think it's going to get any better throughout the season as we head to Monaco, of course, next. Predicted rain at Monaco, so that's going to be absolutely delightful, and a track I can't do anyway, so the wet's just going to make that even more entertaining. But I really hope you've enjoyed this round. Not the greatest action-wise, really, but you're always going to have those races. They usually do tend to come at Spain anyway in real life, so I suppose I've stayed realistic there. Feel free to leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you are new around here. Comment about enjoying it if you enjoyed it that much, as well as any other views you have about the series or ways that I can improve it. I love to hear your feedback. In the meantime, though, it's been a pleasure ranting to you guys today. Have a good day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye.